What if Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin played together? Now, these two have been bitter rivals basically their entire careers. First overall picks in back-to-back drafts in the NHL, so they have been pinpointed against each other. They also played in the same division, so they met in the playoffs multiple times. Crosby winning most of them. I believe Ovechkin only won one in his entire career, and that was the year that he won the Stanley Cup. But what if they played together instead of against each other? Would they absolutely dominate and win like 5 or 6 Stanley Cups? Well, the good thing is we are going to be finding that out today, as I'm going to put Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby on the same exact team, and we are going to see how dominant of a duo they could be in the modern day NHL. All right, so here's a look at the Pens roster. Of course, we have Crosby down the middle. We have Ovi on the wing at a 95 and Jake Gensel on the other wing at an 88. We also have a +5 for the first line. Malkin sitting down on the second line with Rickard Rakell and Ryan Smith +2 there. We have +1s all across the board in our forward core, so that is definitely going to help us out, especially them being in their prime. I mean, if I just left them where they were at, they probably wouldn't win anything, because let's be honest, they're not what they used to be. But now a prime Sidney Crosby and prime Alexander Ovechkin on the same exact line. And of course, for our D-core, we have Erik Karlsson, who's a 91. Chris Letang's at 88. The rest of our D-core is not the greatest outside of Ryan Graves, who's a decent defender. But other than that, it's kind of rough. And of course, Tristan Jarry is going to be our starting goalie at an 87 overall, which is not bad whatsoever. There's literally no excuses that we do not win one Stanley Cup at least throughout this video. We should definitely win at least one Stanley Cup. So let's go on and see how good a duo of Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin would be in the modern day NHL. Now, usually for a simulation like this, I would go about like 10 seasons, I think, simulating. But I mean, these guys are very old and I literally can't change their age. EA Sports does not allow me to do that. So instead, we're just going to go until one of them retires, or maybe even both of them, who knows. And we are not starting out the season hot. 1-3, that is not good at all. Hopefully we can turn this around by the end of the year. So at the end of the season, we are going to end up finishing second in the Metro, going 50, 27, and 5. Good enough for 105 points on the season. The only team that was better than us in our division was Carolina, and for the entire NHL, it was also Carolina, as we are going to end up finishing second, followed by Calgary. San Jose was up there, Tampa Bay, and New Jersey. How on earth did San Jose finish top 4 in the entire NHL? Arizona is going to be at the bottom. Montreal, Vancouver, Buffalo, and Toronto had a terrible season. I mean, 32, 39, and 11. Yeah, either Matthews, Marner, or Nylander are going to get traded after a season like this. Now let's take a look at our player stats here. Sidney Crosby is going to lead the way on our team with 48 goals and 104 points, followed by Alexander Ovechkin, who had 93, also 39 goals. Malkin was up there with 91, Karlsson 87, Jake Gensel 76. Kind of trails off after that. Rickard Rakell was up there, Chris Letang, Brian Rust. Karlsson had 18 goals on the season, Malkin 36, and Ovi 39. What did Tristan Jarry do here for the season? He was 43, 24, and 3. 1 shutout. Not the greatest stats in the world. Could be better, but it also could be worse. Nikita Kucherov is going to dominate the NHL, leading in goals with 69 and points with 112. I mean, what can you say? Nikita Kucherov is a sniper. Followed by Breadman's 110. Zibanejad was up there. Patrick Kane, who's now on the Minnesota Wild, had 106. Crosby was up there, 104. Kaprizov 103. Braden Point had a good season. McDavid was up there, and David Pastrnak had 99. Now, if we take a look at the goals here, other than Kucherov, Svechnikov is actually going to come in second place with 52 goals. Followed by passes, 50. Crosby was up there. Matthews had 46. Marchand, Nathan McKinnon 43. Zibanejad 43, and Kaprizov 42. So no Alexander Ovechkin in his prime, not even being like top 10 in goals. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are going to have to go up against Jack Hughes and the New Jersey Devils. Now, they are a very good team, so it might be a tough series, but I think we can pull it out. We did finish second in the regular season, so we should have a slight edge there. And sadly, just like in the 2010s, we are going to end up getting swept by Boston in the conference finals, as Colorado goes on and beats them in the Stanley Cup finals in Game 7. Oh, I have a feeling this was our best chance at winning a Stanley Cup. I feel like we're just going to get worse from here on out. Now, for the playoffs, Evgeny Malkin is going to lead our team in points with 20, followed by Crosby's 19, also had 11 goals. Erik Karlsson had 19, Ovi 17, only 5 goals in 16 games. Kind of confusing because he is a 96 overall. He is 38, but at like a 91, he simulates better when I don't control him. Now, for the entire NHL in the playoffs, Nathan McKinnon is going to have the most points at 37, followed by Rantanen's 31. Cale Makar was up there with 28, so Colorado was stacked. Pasta had 26, Marchand 26, Zegras had a pretty good playoff run. I mean, the Ducks played 17 games in the postseason. That's crazy. Now let's check out the awards here. Colorado obviously won the Stanley Cup. Now the Ted Lindsay is going to go to Zibanejad, the Maurice Richard to Kucherov, the Art Ross also to Kucherov, and the Hart Trophy to Zibanejad. The Norris to Adam Fox, the Lady Bing, the Breadman, and the Conn Smythe, of course, to the greatest player of all time in Nathan McKinnon. Somehow the Vezina is going to go to Robin Lehner, and the Selke will go to Anze Kopitar of the LA Kings. So heading into the second season here, Crosby is actually up to a 97 overall after that good season he had last year, and Ovi is up to a 96. He also somehow picked up Patrick Kane in the offseason. He's a 91, so our first line is insane now. Jake Gensel slotted down on the second line, still there. Malkin, 92. So I think he did grow. I think he was a 90 last year. It seems like everybody grew. Everybody seems like they grew on D. Who do we have here? We still have Carlson, who grew to a 93. Letang's a 90. We got Shane Gostisbehere somehow. I guess we got him in the offseason. Justin Schultz is back on the team, and our starting goalie is still going to be Tristan Jarry. And we picked up Marc-Andre Fleury. The Flower is back in Pittsburgh. 85 overall, 39 years old. So we are going to end up having a great regular season. We are going to finish first in the Metro, going 55, 17, and 10. Good enough for 120 points on the season. Obviously first in the Metro and first in the entire NHL. We were second last year, so. And I mean, we did improve our roster overall, so I'm very happy that we are first. But we do got to get it done in the playoffs. New Jersey was up here as well. Boston, New York, Florida, and Buffalo. Now at the bottom, we have Chicago, Nashville, Tampa Bay fell. Oh my God, only 32 wins on the season. San Jose, after finishing top 4 last year, now is going to finish bottom 4 with only 34 wins. Alexander Ovechkin is going to destroy the NHL at age 39. 70 goals and 134 points. What are they feeding these guys in Russia, man? Like, what is going on? Followed by Carlson, who had 111, 92 assists. Crosby had 100, 38 goals. Kane had 95 and 30 goals. Oh my God. Malkin, 93. Also 40 goals. Jake Gensel, 67. Oh my God. We had like 5 90-point scorers. We definitely had the best offense in the history of the NHL. For goals on our team, it was not even close. I mean, Alexander Ovechkin is going to score 70 goals on the season. Malkin had 40, Crosby 38, Kane 30, Gensel had 25, Lars Eller had 23. Let's take a look at Tristan Jarry here. He went 45, 14, and 9. Very good stats, honestly. 6 shutouts, decent stats overall. Now, obviously, for the entire NHL, Ovi is going to lead in goals with 70 and points with 134. Jack Hughes was up there, 114. He might actually do that in real life. Connor Bedard had 61 goals and 111 points. Carlson, of course, was up there. Kyle Connor, 110. Jesper Bratt had 106. Abinadad, 105. Draisaitl and McDavid were up there as well. Joe Pavelski had a 100-point season. Now for goals, obviously, Ovechkin is going to lead. Second place, though, would be Connor Bedard with 61, followed by Draisaitl's 50. Abinadad had 50. Robo was up there. Trevor Zegras had 48. Cole Caulfield, 46. Jack Hughes and Matthews were also up there as well. Tristan Jarry is going to have the most wins by any goalie in the NHL with 45. I mean, he was on the best team, so that's kind of to be expected. Vanacek was up there. Allmark, Ottinger, Gibson, and Shesterkin. And for shutouts, is he going to lead the way? He is for shutouts as well with 6 on the season. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are going to have to play the Carolina Hurricanes, who do have a very good team. They were the best team last year in the regular season, so hopefully we get through that and we actually make a deep playoff run. I mean, we did have a deep playoff run last year, but I do expect to at least make the Stanley Cup final. And just like that, in their second season together, the duo of Crosby and Ovechkin are going to make the Stanley Cup final. We are up against the Dallas Stars. Let's see if we can go on and take home that Stanley Cup in year number 2. And the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup as they absolutely dominate Dallas in the Stanley Cup finals in 5 games. I mean, we only lost 1 game since the second round. We really turned a corner, I guess you could say, and we just did not look back from that as we dominate the rest of the playoffs. Now a duo of Ovechkin and Crosby are Stanley Cup champions together, even though they're in their final years of their NHL careers. Speaking of the devil, Ovechkin is going to take home the Conn Smythe. 18 goals, 18 helpers for 36 points in the postseason. He was a huge part of this team, and there it is, the Stanley Cup being raised in Pittsburgh yet again, the 4th cup of the Crosby era. But now it's the Crosby and Ovechkin era. I mean, they are like 38, 39 years old, so they are old as hell. And there's Sid the Kid, baby. Crosby coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the 4th time in his NHL career. But this time he has a new sidekick next to him. It's not Crosby, it's not Letang, it's not Gensel. It is none other than Alexander Ovechkin, the greatest goal scorer of all time, and now a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Ovi is going to dominate the playoffs, 18 goals, 36 points in only 22 playoff games, followed by Karlsson's 29. Malkin had 25 and 10 goals. Crosby didn't have the greatest playoff run, only 5 goals and 21 points, but I mean, I guess it's decent. For the entire NHL, Ovechkin is going to lead in goals and points, 18 and 36. Karlsson was up there. Malkin, Mark Stone had 24, Robertson 23, Marchessault 21, Joe Pavelski was up there. Alexander Ovechkin is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, the Maurice Richard, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy. The Norris to Erik Karlsson, the Lady Byng also to Karlsson, the Conn Smythe to Ovi, the Vezina to Tristan Jarry, and the Selke will go to Ryan O'Reilly. So it looks like Sidney Crosby has fallen off a goddamn cliff. I mean, he's 91 overall now. Meanwhile, Ovechkin's still a 96. So Ovechkin has only dropped one slot. Gensel is back up on that first line, 88 overall. Patrick Kane's still a 90. Malkin has dropped down to an 87. I have no idea what happened to Crosby, man. He had a pretty good season last year, 100 points, 38 goals. But I guess the good thing is Ovechkin is still kicking there at 39 years old. Karlsson's a 92. Letang has dropped off as well. It looks like the original Pittsburgh Penguins are washed. New guys are still very good though, and in goal we still have Tristan Jarry, 86 overall. And so the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to end up falling off a goddamn cliff as we finish 7th in the Metro, going 37, 36, and 9, only 83 points. So I guess it's not even just a Crosby, Malkin, Letang thing, it's a whole team thing, as we were not even close to the best team in the NHL. That would be the New York Rangers with 54 wins, followed by the Minnesota Wild. Edmonton Oilers were up there, Boston, Carolina, actually Calgary, my bad, Buffalo was there as well. Now at the bottom of the NHL we have the Flyers, the Sharks, Tampa Bay was down there, Nashville, Winnipeg, Los Angeles, St. Louis. Where were the Penguins? 23rd in the entire NHL. That is tough, just after winning the Stanley Cup last year as well. Now despite missing the playoffs, Crosby is going to light the lamp, 117 points, leading our team, followed by Ovechkin, who had 101, Jake Gensel 85, Karlsson 85, Patrick Kane 68, was a -10, Malkin only 56, Raquel had 48, Lars Eller 38, and for goals on our team, I believe Ovechkin is going to lead the way with 53, followed by Crosby, who had 44, Gensel at 28, Patrick Kane 27, Malkin only 21, Raquel 18, and we're not even going to make the playoffs. Now for our goalie, Tristan Jarry is going to go 30, 27, 9, no shutouts, and very bad stats. Now for the entire NHL, Matthews and Pasta are going to lead in goals with 58, and Pasta will lead in points with 122, followed by Zibanejad's 119, Crosby was up there, Marchand had 116, Breadman 112, McKinnon 110, Kaprizov was up there, Barkov, and Jeff Skinner, 48 goals and 104 points. Yeah, the scoring is absolutely crazy in this game. Now, other than those two, for goals, Kucherov had the most at 57, followed by Breadman, who had 55, Ovi was up there, of course, Kaprizov 52, Jeff Skinner 48, Zibanejad 47, and Cole Caulfield 47 goals and 100 points. And obviously, we did not even make the playoffs, so we're just going to have to simulate along and see who goes on and wins the Stanley Cup. Hopefully, our computer can rearrange the team in the offseason, pick up some good players in free agency, maybe even make some trades, and we can rebound for next year. And the Edmonton Oilers are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup as they defeat Carolina in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. They got the revenge out of 2006, or over 2006. For the playoffs, Leon Draisaitl is going to score 20 goals and 36 points, followed by McDavid's 36, only had 12 goals though. Your Mom's a Hoe had 33, Tara Vinen 32, Nugent Hopkins had 29. David Pastrnak is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, the Maurice Richard, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy. The Norris is going to go to Adam Fox, the Lady Byng to Pasta, and the Conn Smythe to Leon Draisaitl. The Vezina to Dustin Wolf, and the Selke will go to Anze Kopitar of the LA Kings yet again. So Alexander Ovechkin has dropped down to a 95 overall. Meanwhile, Crosby's an 88. He's not doing too well, 39 years old. Kane is also down at an 84. The good thing is though, Jake Gensel is up at a 90 overall. He's only 31 years old, so he should be good for at least a couple more seasons. Malkin as well is down there at an 84 on D. Where's Chris Letang here? Chris Letang's an 81 overall. Not doing too well, as well as Karlsson, who's an 89, 36 years old. This team literally has one foot in the grave already, I swear to God. And for our starting goalie, I believe, yes, it's still Tristan Jarry. He's at 85. Our backup's Jake Allen at an 81. Obviously, we know we didn't do very good last season. I don't expect too much to change. I mean, our team is relatively the same, and that was pretty much expected to happen considering Ovechkin and Crosby are very old, 39 and 40 respectively. So yet again, for a second year in a row, we are going to miss the playoffs as we go 36, 37, and 9. Good enough for 81 points on the season. 7th in the Metro. Not a very good regular season whatsoever. It seems like we're washed at this point. The Buffalo Sabres are going to finish as the best team in the NHL with 52 wins wins on the season. Followed by Carolina, Edmonton was up there, New York, Tampa Bay, Chicago, and Los Angeles. At the bottom, hell, we're probably going to be down here. Where were we at? Yeah, 27th in the entire NHL were the Pittsburgh Penguins. That is sad. St. Louis was down there as well, Montreal, Dallas, and Nashville. So Dallas and Pittsburgh, two teams that met in the Stanley Cup final just a couple years ago, are now two of the worst teams in the entire NHL. Alexander Ovechkin is going to lead our team in points with 88, followed by Patrick Kane's 80, Crosby had 79, Jake Gensel 71, Carlson only at 64, Malkin 58, and in minus 15. That is rough. Raquel had 49, Gagne 27. Yeah, it's terrible after that. And for goals on our team, I believe, yes, Ovi's going to lead the way with 38, Patrick Kane somehow at 35, Jake Gensel was up there 28, Malkin 27, Crosby only 25, Raquel 16. This team is decreasing year after year. Tristan Jarry, he went 26, 33, and 9, 1 shutouts and terrible stats. He was not good whatsoever. The entire NHL, Kirill Kaprizov is going to lead the way for goals with 56 and points with 115, followed by Jordan Eberle, who had 112. What the hell? 36 years old, 85 overall on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Connor McDavid had 104. Somehow Jarrett McCann had 103. Robertson was up there. Barkov 102. Jeff Skinner had 100. Tage Thompson. Bedard had 99. And for goals, other than Kaprizov, Matthews was up there. Zibanejad, Bedard had 50. Trevor Zegras almost had 50, 49. McDavid 47. Eberle was up there 45. Kerman, whoever Passy Kerman, had 45 goals, and Draisaitl 43. And of course, we missed the playoffs for a second year in a row after we won the Stanley Cup in year number 2. So let's go on, simulate, see who wins the cup, and maybe one of these guys might retire. I think one of them will at least. And Buffalo is going to go on and win the Stanley Cup as they defeat Anaheim in 6 games in the Stanley Cup final. For the playoffs, Trevor Zegras is going to lead the NHL in points with 32, also at 10 goals, so a very good playoff run by him. Followed by Leo Carlsson, who had 27, Zach Benson 25, Tage Thompson 23. Yeah, it looks like the NHL has shifted as the older ones now do not really compare. Kaprizov is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, the Maurice Richard, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy, the Norris, the Adam Fox, the Lady Bing to Jordan Eberle. Conn Smythe is going to go to Zach Benson, the Vezina to Wallstat, and the Selke will go to Elias Lindholm. So it looks like Crosby and Ovi, neither guy is going to retire, but sadly Erik Karlsson is, as he's calling it a career after 1,200 games in the NHL, a very successful career. So as we head into year number 5, Alexander Ovechkin is going to be a 92 overall. Meanwhile, Crosby is all the way down at an 83, 40 years old and 41 respectively. Jake Gensel's down at an 89 now, so he's not even improving. And I mean, take a look at the rest of this forward core. It is absolutely horrible. Outside of Rickard Rakell, there's no really other good players. Defensively, we don't really have much either. Chris Letang's down at an 80. I think Evgeny Malkin is either retired or gone to a new team. Tristan Jarry's an 84. So yeah, things are not looking too great in Pittsburgh here. Our roster is not very good. And again, Pittsburgh is going to miss the playoffs as we end up finishing 6th in the Metro, going 35, 34, and 13. Good enough for 83 points on the season. The Chicago Blackhawks were the best team in the NHL, followed by Carolina, Toronto, Anaheim, and Vegas. At the bottom, who do we have here? Calgary, Columbus, Montreal. Philly was down there. Dallas, where were we at? The Pittsburgh Penguins, we were 22nd. Ovechkin is going to lead our team in goals with 49 and points with 89. He's still kicking at 42 years old. Meanwhile, Crosby had 77. He was a minus 14. Jesus. Jake Gensel had 63. Rickard Rakell, 59. Coronado had 37. Trails off after that. Yeah, we did not have a great season whatsoever. I wasn't expecting one either. Tristan Jarry, 27, 27, and 9. 2 shutouts. Not the greatest stats. 3.5 goals per game. And the Anaheim Ducks are going to get the revenge over last season as they go on and defeat New Jersey in 5 games in the Stanley Cup final. Jason Robertson, who now is on the Chicago Blackhawks, is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross to Connor Bedard and Maurice Richard to Kucherov, the Norris to Adam Fox, the Lady Bing to Michael Misa, who also is on Chicago. Conn Smythe is going to go to Troy Terry, the Vezina to Sorokin, and the Selke will go to Alexander Barkov of the Florida Panthers. And just like that, both Alexander Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby are going to retire from the NHL for good, as Ovechkin finishes with 1,092 goals, 994 assists for 2,033 points. Meanwhile, Crosby had 747 goals, 1,284 assists for 2,031 points in his entire career. They were neck and neck. Ovechkin obviously played like 200 more games. I mean, they were basically neck and neck their entire career, at least for their individual points. Now for the playoffs, let's take a look at Ovi stats here. 95 goals and 99 assists for 194 points. Now for Crosby in the playoffs, what did he do here? 87 goals, 154 assists for 241 points in 218 playoff games. Now Alexander Ovechkin is going to finish with the most career games played in NHL history, 1,837. Also the most goals in NHL history. Meanwhile, Crosby is going to come in second. Why does it say he finished with 1,000 goals? I don't even know. The game is glitching out right now. Ovi's going to finish second in points all time behind Gretzky. Crosby would also be there at third, and for assists, Crosby's going to be second, and of course, Ovi's nowhere to be found. He was not much of a playmaker throughout his entire career. Goals, 50-goal seasons. Ovi's going to have the most at 11 and 100-point seasons. Crosby is going to be fourth place at 9, and that is going to do it for this video, boys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, obviously, Crosby and Ovi got together very late in their NHL career. Now, obviously, Crosby and Ovi got together later on in their NHL careers. I believe they were like 37, 38. So they really didn't have that much time together. Maybe we could do this again and I could create the players and have them stay together for their entire careers. But they did get one Stanley Cup as a duo, so that is very good. I would like to say thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.